Imagine upgrading your iPhone in London. You hand your old phone to a mobile carrier, receive a discount on the new model, and walk away. As far as you are concerned, the story of that old phone is over. But it may only be beginning. Within weeks, that phone could be inspected in a British warehouse, combined with hundreds of other trade-ins, sold through a wholesale auction, and shipped to Hong Kong. From there, it may travel across the border to Shenzhen and appear inside Huaqiangbei, the most famous electronics trading district in China. Technicians might replace its battery, repair its screen, polish its housing, and sell it to a customer in China. Or a trader from Pakistan, Libya, Nigeria, or another overseas market might buy it in bulk and export it again. A phone designed in California, used in Europe, and refurbished in Shenzhen could eventually begin its second life in Africa, South Asia, or the Middle East. So how does this enormous second-hand supply chain actually work? Where do the phones come from? How do they reach Huaqiangbei? And what happens to phones that are damaged, carrier locked, or even stolen? To understand it, we need to follow the entire journey. The first thing to understand is that most second-hand phones do not begin their journey in Huaqiangbei. They begin with ordinary consumers. In wealthier markets such as the United States, Britain, Western Europe, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and Hong Kong, many people replace their phones while the old device is still usable. Some phones enter manufacturer or carrier trade-in programs. Others are sold to recycling websites, phone shops, or automated collection machines. There are also customer returns, leased phones, corporate devices, and phones collected by insurance companies. One Hong Kong wholesaler even has a special category called 14 days. These are devices returned to telecom companies or chain stores shortly after purchase. They may be almost new, but because the box has been opened or an accessory is missing, they can no longer be sold through the normal new phone channel. Corporate phones create another supply stream. When a company replaces hundreds or thousands of employee devices, it normally does not sell them individually. A technology asset company collects them, erases the data, tests the hardware, and sells them as a wholesale lot. Damaged insurance devices can also enter the secondary market. If repairing a phone for the original owner is not economical, the insurance company may replace it and sell the damaged device as salvage. And increasingly, Huaqiangbei also receives phones collected inside China. Chinese recycling platforms, electronics brands, retailers, and mobile operators all operate trade-in programs. Industry documents describing China's phone recycling market say individual consumers remain the largest source of used phones. These highly dispersed devices are gathered by recycling platforms, phone dealers, brands, chain stores, and mobile network operators. In other words, Huaqiangbei does not create the supply. It concentrates supply that begins with millions of individual decisions to upgrade. A single old phone, however, is not very useful to a large international trader. The next important step is aggregation. Collection companies gather thousands of devices and send them to processing centers. There, workers or automated systems identify the model, storage capacity, market version, and cosmetic condition. They test the cameras, display, microphones, speakers, charging port, wireless connections, and battery. They may also check the phone's IMEI number to see whether it has been reported lost, stolen, or blocked by a mobile operator. The phones are then divided into grades. The precise grading system varies, but grade A generally means a clean and fully functional device. Grade B may have scratches or visible wear. Grade C may be heavily worn or require repair. Other lots contain phones that do not power on, have broken screens, contain activation locks, or are suitable only for parts. This is important because buyers do not always select every phone individually. Some devices are sold as mixed condition batches. A buyer might have to accept every phone of a particular model, including the good ones, the damaged ones, and the mysteries. That uncertainty is built into the price. Hong Kong wholesalers publish stock lists and conduct regular auctions. Buyers inspect representative devices, study the grade, and bid for entire batches. Some established companies have relationships with telecom operators and buyback networks around the world. So before an iPhone ever appears behind a glass counter in Shenzhen, it may already have passed through 4 different hands: the original user, a collection company, a processing warehouse, and a wholesale auction. Hong Kong plays a crucial role in this system because it is an international logistics and trading hub with a separate customs system from mainland China. Hundreds of companies there buy and sell used phones. A notable concentration can be found in industrial buildings in Kuntong. Number 1 Hungta Road, for example, is home to a major used phone wholesaler that holds several auctions every week. Phones arriving in Hong Kong may come from North America, Europe, Japan, Australia, and other mature consumer markets. Traders from Shenzhen can inspect these batches, bid on them, and organize their next movement. This is where the supply chain divides into legal, gray, and illegal routes. Used phones with proper documentation can move through regulated commercial channels. But Huaqiangbei historically also became famous for shuihuo or water goods. This Chinese term normally refers to genuine products brought into a market outside the manufacturer's official distribution channel, often without the required customs declaration or taxes. A phone can therefore be genuine and legally purchased overseas, while its movement into another market may still violate customs rules. In 2022, Chinese authorities intensified action against smuggling and products without evidence of lawful origin. Market managers at Fiang Times reportedly began demanding invoices, receipts, and other documentation. Many sellers of overseas model iPhones closed their stalls or switched to domestically sourced phones, so it would be inaccurate to say that every overseas iPhone in Huaqiangbei arrived illegally, but it would also be inaccurate to ignore the gray import networks that helped build the market. Once the phones reach Shenzhen, Huaqiangbei's real advantage becomes obvious. It is not simply a shopping street. It is an extraordinarily dense network of wholesalers, repair technicians, component suppliers, logistics companies, purchasing agents, and online sellers. Fiang Times became especially associated with secondhand and overseas model iPhones. Historically, its upper floors contained phone traders, while the lower floors offered components and repair services. This arrangement is extremely efficient. A trader can buy a batch upstairs, test it, carry a defective device downstairs, replace the screen, and arrange shipping without leaving the building. Between these businesses are the people known as beibok, or backpack traders. They move between stalls carrying devices for customers, comparing daily prices, and searching for particular models and grades. Some are independent resellers, others act as purchasing agents for shops elsewhere in China. They might receive a customer's order through WeChat, locate the phones, test them, and ship them on the same day. Each arriving batch is separated again. A clean, unlocked phone may need nothing more than data erasure, testing, and cleaning. A working phone with a weak battery may receive a replacement battery. A device with damaged back glass can receive a new housing. Broken displays, cameras, speakers, and charging ports can also be replaced. However, refurbishment does not always mean restoration to the manufacturer's original standard. The replacement component might be a genuine used part, a recovered original component, or an aftermarket part of varying quality. That is why two iPhones that look identical from the outside can have very different histories and values. Local traders describe cosmetic conditions with terms such as liangji, meaning an attractive or clean phone, xiaohua, meaning lightly scratched, and daohua, meaning heavily scratched. A chongxinji is a phone with so little visible wear that it appears close to new, but these labels are not universal technical standards. One seller's grade A may be another seller's grade B. Huaqiangbei's greatest skill may be its ability to find a buyer for almost every condition of phone. A clean device can be sold directly to a consumer. A scratched but functional phone can be sold to a price-sensitive buyer. A damaged phone can be repaired. A phone that cannot be economically repaired can become a donor device. Its display, camera modules, vibration motor, charging assembly, speakers, screws, and housing may all be sold separately. Even the logic board may have value if it is functional and not locked. At the bottom of the chain, unusable components can be processed for recoverable materials. This explains why Shenzhen buyers can sometimes offer money for devices that appear worthless elsewhere. The value is not necessarily in the complete phone, it is in the combined value of every usable component. It also explains why the entire ecosystem benefits from density. A small repair shop in another country may not have enough customers for an unusual component. Huaqiangbei connects thousands of technicians and traders, so even highly specific parts can find buyers. The market is essentially a search engine for physical electronics. After inspection and refurbishment, the phones move into several different sales channels. The first is traditional wholesale. Retailers from other Chinese cities purchase batches and resell them through local phone shops. The second is online commerce. Traders advertise through WeChat, secondhand platforms, and short video accounts. Some publish repair advice or phone buying guides to attract followers and convert them into customers. This has become increasingly important as stricter enforcement and e-commerce competition have reduced the profitability of traditional stall-based trading. The third channel is international export. Buyers from Africa, South Asia, Southeast Asia, Latin America, and the Middle East, visit Shenzhen or use purchasing agents to assemble orders. They may want hundreds of identical models or a mixture designed for different customer budgets. The desired phone also varies by destination. A fully unlocked and cosmetically clean iPhone has a higher value. A carrier-locked American iPhone may be less useful in one country but attractive in another if the buyer mainly wants its camera, games, and Wi-Fi functions. Market version matters too. Chinese, American, Japanese, and Hong Kong iPhones can have different SIM configurations, network compatibility, and software features. In one reported example, a Pakistani trader was looking for 300 carrier-locked American iPhones. Another buyer planned to purchase between 100 and 200 iPhone 13 Pro Max devices for resale in Libya. Huaqiangbei is therefore not only an entry point into China, it is also a redistribution center sending devices back into the world. The business is not always based on making a huge profit from one phone. It is based on speed, information, and volume. One corporate recycling company reported that it could inspect, grade, price, and list a collected device for resale in approximately 24 hours. Industry inventory turnover was estimated at roughly 10 to 15 days. That speed matters because used phone prices are constantly falling. When a new iPhone launches, the value of older models can change immediately. Holding a warehouse full of phones for too long can erase the profit. Traders therefore monitor prices daily. The model, storage, color, battery condition, cosmetic grade, repair history, carrier status, and market version can all change the price. Reports from Huaqiangbei have described margins of only around 1 or 200 yuan on some domestic sales. An international buyer might earn more but must also pay for inspection, repair, transport, customs, warranty claims, and defective units. The iPhone is particularly important because it retains value for longer than many competing devices. According to Counterpoint Research, Apple represented 56% of global refurbished smartphone sales in 2024. That combination, high residual value, standardized models, long software support, and global demand makes the iPhone ideal for wholesale trading. Now, we reach the darkest part of the industry. Most secondhand phones have legitimate origins. But stolen devices can enter the same fragmented supply chain. In 2025, British police uncovered a network suspected of exporting as many as 40,000 stolen phones from the United Kingdom to China in 1 year. The investigation began after approximately 1,000 iPhones were discovered near Heathrow Airport, destined for Hong Kong. Victims in London and New York have also tracked stolen iPhones through Hong Kong and eventually to Shenzhen. A locked iPhone cannot simply be reset and sold as a normal device. Apple's activation lock is designed to prevent exactly that. Criminal buyers may attempt to pressure victims into removing the stolen phone from their Apple account. If the owner refuses, the phone's complete resale value falls dramatically. Historically, however, it could still be dismantled for components. Apple has been expanding activation lock to individual parts. On supported devices, components taken from a phone marked as lost may be restricted when someone attempts to calibrate them inside another device. This makes stolen components less useful and is intended to reduce demand. The important point is not that every Huaqiangbei seller deals in stolen phones. There are thousands of legitimate businesses in the area. The real problem is opacity. Once devices are mixed into bulk lots and pass through multiple intermediaries, tracing the origin of each phone becomes difficult. The same efficiency that gives legitimate devices a second life can also help criminals hide stolen property. There is also an environmental contradiction. Extending a phone's life is usually better than immediately destroying it. Refurbishment makes technology more affordable and delays the need to manufacture another device, but reuse and waste are not the same thing. If working phones are properly tested, securely erased, honestly graded, and safely repaired, the result can benefit both consumers and the environment. If exporters send broken devices that have little realistic reuse value, they may simply be transferring electronic waste to a country with cheaper labor and less transparent disposal systems. According to the Global E-Waste Monitor, the world produced approximately 62 million tons of electronic waste in 2022. Only about 22% was documented as formally collected and recycled. Huaqiangbei demonstrates both sides of the circular economy, impressive repair and reuse capabilities, but also the risk of unsafe processing, dishonest refurbishment, and untraceable waste. So how do the world's used phones flow into Huaqiangbei? They begin with trade-ins, customer returns, corporate upgrades, insurance claims, and domestic recycling, and in a smaller but well-documented criminal stream, theft. Aggregators test and bundle them. Wholesalers auction them. Hong Kong connects international supply with Shenzhen. Huaqiangbei then separates each batch according to condition and value. The best phones are cleaned and resold. Damaged phones are repaired. Unusable phones become sources of parts and materials. Traders distribute the results through physical shops, WeChat, online platforms, and international export networks. Huaqiangbei is sometimes described as a factory, but that misses the point. Its greatest product is not the refurbished iPhone. Its greatest product is efficiency. It combines pricing information, repair knowledge, spare parts, logistics, and buyers in one concentrated district. That allows a device discarded on one side of the world to find another user thousands of kilometers away. But efficiency without transparency also creates risks. The next time you see a remarkably cheap, like-new iPhone, the most important question may not be whether it works today. The real question is, where has it been and what exactly is inside it?